To questions. Kilmeny?
Madam Chair, thank you. Kilmeny Dukert with Newsmax. I'd like to ask you about the fentanyl crisis, but I have a political question first, if you'd be so kind. As you know, the Republican National Committee censured two of your fellow conference members, Representatives Cheney and Kinzinger. A number of Republican congressional leadership, including in the upper chamber, have criticized this action, saying it represents a form of shooting inside the tent, and the kind of backwards-looking politics of grievance that Donald Trump embodies, rather than the forward-looking issues-based approach that most party officials agree will be necessary for the GOP to reclaim majorities in November. As a member of leadership yourself, what is your reaction to those censures?
My reaction is the RNC has every right to take any action, and the position that I have is that you're ultimately held accountable to voters in your district, voters who you represent, and we're going to hear the feedback and the views of voters pretty quickly here this year. Next question. NBC.
Secondly,
oh, you want a fentanyl question?
Yes.
Sure, yes.
What are you hearing from your Democratic colleagues about why they're blocking this bill? Is there a failure to acknowledge that there's a crisis even at the southern border?
I'm going to let the ranking member of ENC, who is responsible for that, I'm going to turn over to Kathy.
Okay. Well, clearly, everyone is recognizing that we have a crisis in America as it relates to fentanyl. And it is estimated that there's enough fentanyl in the United States now to kill every single person 7 times over. What's happening on the southern border is that the fentanyl, they changed the recipe a little bit. It's called fentanyl analogs. And there's an emergency order that was put in place over 2 years ago now so that the DEA could actually take action. The Democrats acknowledge that we have a crisis around fentanyl. They'll acknowledge the 100,000 that have died now of overdoses. They'll acknowledge that we need to take action. They are concerned about the mandatory minimums. So they're concerned about the traffickers, these drug dealers, being subjected to mandatory minimums. And they're so concerned about that they are resisting, and so far they have blocked our efforts to permanently schedule the fentanyl analogs. We are calling upon them to take action. And as Brett noticed, we can look at reforming the justice system. That's a larger issue within the Judiciary Committee. What we've called for is the permanent scheduling as well as the research that the administration would like to see happen around fentanyl. But we need to take action because every day there's another story of someone that is dying due to a pill that they don't even know what they're taking.
Great. Other questions? Leanne.
I have 2 questions on 2 different topics, if you can entertain them. The first is, do you think that January 6th was legitimate political discourse, which the RNC said over the weekend?
As Republicans have been very clear, we condemn the violence on January 6th. We also condemn the violence on 2020 as violent criminals attacked federal buildings, including parts of Washington, D.C. So we have been clear in that condemnation. House Democrats did not condemn the violence that happened all of 2020. And we believe the January 6th Commission is political theater. It's about punishing partisan opponents and not getting to the real facts, which should be how can we ensure that the Capitol complex is safe, not only for those of us who work here, but for the American people to continue to advocate for policies they believe in. Second question.
On a follow-up real quick, do you think that position is problematic heading into a midterm election where Republicans are looking quite good at this point?
Again, our position has been very clear. We condemned the violence on January 6th, just like we condemned the violence that happened all throughout 2020. That's what's different than our Democrat colleagues who refused to condemn the violence that happened in 2020. When it comes to heading into the midterms on the issues that matter to the American people, whether it's the border crisis, whether it's the crime crisis, crime numbers skyrocketing in states all across America, including my home district, whether it's the economic challenges, we are going to continue talking about those issues and working to earn the support to earn back the majority. Yes, go ahead.
Madam Chair, thank you. Just a follow-up with respect to the RNC. Does the conference have any plans to take additional actions against Congresswoman Cheney or Kinzinger? I know some members would like to see them expelled out of the party.
It did not come up today in our conference meeting. Yes, sir.